What is up, Chiefs Kingdom? Welcome back to another video on my channel. My name is Josh Fann of ShowMeFootball.com and ArrowheadAddict.com, covering your Kansas City Chiefs. And today I am joined by the Michael D'Arcy of KC Sports Report. And Michael, today we have come together to talk about a player on the Kansas City Chiefs that has really taken a huge step forward this year, and that is wide receiver Rashee Rice, who's absolutely popped off over the first 3 weeks of the season. Rashee Rice is currently top 5 in the NFL in receiving yards. He's got 24 catches for 288 yards and 2 touchdowns. But not only, Michael, is he tearing it up as far as the stats go with those 288 yards receiving, but if you dig a little deeper, Rashee Rice leads the entire NFL in yards after the catch. 186 of his 288 receiving yards have come after the catch. For so many years, Travis Kelce was kind of the yak king, at least on the Chiefs. I know he led the way in the NFL as far as yak goes for a few years there, but there seems to be a new face in that department, and it's Rashee Rice. I mean, he's been absolutely fantastic this year. He's been money on third down for the Kansas City Chiefs. He leads the Chiefs in catches for a first down. We'll start with this, Michael. Did you see this start coming from Rashee Rice?
Absolutely not. And listen, I was high on Rashee Rice. Like, I thought he was going to be, one of the players for the Chiefs that took a big step. But man, for him to go from being, someone that we thought was a good number 2 to being a number 1 wide receiver on maybe one of the better offenses in the NFL was something that I was not anticipating. I mean, you read off the numbers. He's top 5 in yards. Like, this was something that I did not anticipate, 3 weeks into the season or 4 weeks into the season. That, I thought he'd be good. I didn't think he was going to be this good. And it's really just a testament to, the work that he put in over the offseason. I know there was a bunch of stuff that also happened in the offseason that, frustrates a lot of other fan bases. But listen, he has been, as good as advertised, better than advertised. Like, I didn't think he was going to be this good. And he's the reason why you're 3-0. This offense could not function without him, especially when you have guys like Travis Kelce and, Sky Moore that aren't really doing their job right now.
Well, that's the big thing, right? Is Hollywood Brown went down before the season. He was supposed to be your wide receiver 1. And then Xavier Worthy is a rookie, obviously. And so you look around the wide receiver room and you're like, well, shoot, Rashee Rice, we kind of need you to take a step this year. And we expected it. But I didn't expect it to happen this fast. And I didn't expect him to become essentially, and we can talk about this later on too, he's really overtaken Travis Kelce as the number 1 option in this offense, which you could not say a year ago, not even towards the end of last season when Rashee Rice really came on in the postseason. Travis Kelce was still the guy. And I'm not here to get into a whole debate about that because I still think that Travis Kelce will have his moments for this team this year, and I think you will see him perform come playoff time. But as of right now, Rashee Rice is the number 1 option on this offense. And even last year, again, beginning of the season even, when Travis Kelce was healthy and playing for this team, he was the number 1 option on offense. Not so much anymore. Rashee Rice has been targeted 28 times over the first 3 games, Michael. Travis Kelce has not been targeted more than 5 times in a game this season. That has not happened since 2017 when Alex Smith was still the quarterback for this team. This is the first time since 2017 that Travis Kelce has not been targeted more than 5 times in a game in the first 3 weeks of the NFL season. I really did my research on that stat. But, I mean, obviously this is a good positive sign for Rashee Rice and his development, Michael. Does that shock you at all? And do you agree with the sentiment that Rashee Rice has essentially become the number 1 option in this offense?
Oh, yeah. No, Rashee Rice is the go-to guy. He's the guy that Patrick Mahomes is looking for first, which is crazy because Travis Kelce is still playing football. But listen, I think that's what the Chiefs ultimately designed. They wanted somebody else to take some of the pressure and the load off of Travis Kelce. He's like 34 years old. Do you want him going out there catching 12 balls a game and just getting the crap
knocked out of him?
Yeah, like, that's something that the Chiefs don't want for his longevity. And what I've been saying all week, because I've made a couple videos on this, he is going to be great in selective moments. It is going to be a game where the Chiefs need to win the division or in the postseason. He is going to just absolutely turn up, and he'll be the Travis Kelce of old. He's just not going to do it all season long because the Chiefs don't really want him to do it all season long. But I think that benefits the Chiefs offense because, Travis Kelce, even though, he's not really performing what we're used to this season, he might be the greatest decoy that we've seen in the NFL in a long time because you still have to respect him because if you don't, it could be a long day for your defense.
Yeah, Travis Kelce, I think this should only be viewed as a positive for the Kansas City Chiefs and Chiefs fans because this is what we wanted. We wanted the Chiefs to be, it is a good thing. I don't want it to sound anything other than a good thing that the Chiefs have found someone like Rashee Rice, who is a special talent at the wide receiver position that can take a bulk of the load on offense. And so Travis Kelce can stick around for as long as possible. Now, I still think they need more additional help beyond Rashee Rice, but that's a conversation for another day. But, he's been the go-to guy on third down. He's been absolutely money over the middle. We talked about that even after week one. Just the slants were automatic with Rashee Rice. That was something that Travis Kelce used to always be the guy as well. Like, take third down, for example, again. Third down, it's like, even if the play broke down, you could always count on Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes going off script to make something happen, right? Rashee Rice seems to have that same knack for just finding a soft spot in the coverage, even on those third and shorts, to be able to get a first down for the Kansas City Chiefs. He has the most first down catches for the team so far, and he really has just become an integral part of this offense, especially in clutch situations where the Chiefs need a big play.
Yeah, and I hope that continues. My only concern is that we've seen teams try to take away Travis Kelce or try to take away that number one option, and I don't know if Rashee Rice facing that type of adversity will be the same player. I hope that he will be, but we just don't know because we haven't seen it. There's times where Travis Kelce's double or triple teamed, and he somehow, some way finds a way to make a big-time catch and turn up in those moments. And I want to say that Rashee Rice is the same way. We haven't seen him, do this long enough to say that he, definitively is that type of player. So that's my only real concern about it. I think Rashee Rice has, proved a lot of the haters wrong. There were people saying that he was a number 3 wide receiver on a bad team. And he came out this season, with kind of to prove the haters wrong. Listen, all that stuff that happened in the offseason, it can only motivate you to go out there and perform. And that's exactly what he's done so far this season. And like I said, you wouldn't be 3-0 without him. With all those first down catches, leading the team in receptions, you're not in the same position with anybody else.
Well, you just kind of have to admire the ability to block out the outside noise from everything that happened over the offseason and just come in here and do his job. I haven't heard much from him as far as the media goes. And he just has come in here. He's done his job. He's been extremely good at it. And the blend of athleticism, explosion, agility, it's really led to him becoming the number one option in this offense. And even in that Atlanta game, it seemed like there were multiple times where he came up with a big play to get us in the red zone, even on third down when we needed something. And he's burned quite a few defenders this year. Even another expansion on his game that we've seen that I've been encouraged by so far is that he's been able to provide sort of a deep ball threat in a way that we didn't really see coming from him, that we wanted to get from Hollywood Brown. Obviously hasn't happened. People want to see it from Xavier Worthy. Rashee Rice has caught quite a few deep balls this year. Against the Falcons, he had a long of 27 yards. Against the Bengals, he had a long of 44. Against the Ravens, he had a long of 33. These are not plays that we saw Rashee Rice even really put together last year until very, very late in the season. I don't even think he had his first catch of 20-plus air yards until like week 17 against the Bengals last year. It was mostly behind the line of scrimmage stuff for Rashee Rice as a rookie. This year, he's really expanded his route tree, his ability to affect the game in other areas besides manufactured targets. And I think that's the biggest thing. We got excited in the past about guys like McCole Hardman, who eventually just kind of remained the same player for 4 years and never really broke out of that gadget role. Rashee Rice kind of had a gadget role early on. He's already completely broken out of that. He shattered that ceiling that a lot of people had for him.
And listen, I think that that's so, much worth noting because, like you said, we've seen players kind of fit that gadget role and they never really advance. They don't improve. And part of it might literally be a lack of playbook knowledge. And so the fact that Rashee Rice in an offseason where a lot of stuff happened, he was able to get the playbook down enough to where the team trusts him to run and expand his route tree. That's a really good thing for him. And I think that's why we're seeing him getting so many opportunities to produce, because he came prepared, and he is, doing a lot more in just the routes that he's running than he did last year. It was a lot of manufactured stuff, like you said, a lot of stuff that like the end arounds and the screen game. They've finally graduated with him out of that role, and they've opened it up for him to, achieve different kind of success. And that's really exciting.
Yeah, no, for sure. It seems like they've kind of relegated that kind of stuff to Xavier Worthy, who I'm sure we will see grow as the season goes on. Started out really hot, has been kind of quiet the past couple games, but a lot of that is also because Rashee Rice is getting all the attention, and Rashee Rice has become that go-to guy for Patrick Mahomes. And you can't really blame him either, because, he's been awesome. 29 catches for 288 yards in the first 3 games. This is special stuff that is happening here. He only trails Nico Collins of the Houston Texans so far in receiving yards this year. How realistic, Michael, do you think is it that Rashee Rice could lead the league in receiving this year?
It could be very realistic. There's a chance that Mahomes goes to him just about as often as he goes to Travis Kelce, in years prior. And Travis Kelce was pretty close to leading the NFL in receiving yards a couple years ago. And so I wouldn't be shocked.
I think he did. I think he did too in 2018 or 2020. I believe. Didn't he have like 1,600 yards this year, or that year?
It was
something
like ridiculous.
Yeah, it was like a crazy year for him. I believe he set a receiving record for tight ends. But continue on with what you were saying.
But I absolutely think that Rashee Rice could do it. Am I going to predict it? Probably not. I think the other teams will throw the ball a little bit more, and I wouldn't be surprised if Nico Collins led it. But I do think that he's going to lead this Chiefs team in receptions, and he'll be at least top 10 in receiving yards, probably top 5.
I was going to ask if you think he finishes top 5. That was the next question.
Yeah, no, he'll probably be top 5. I would say it's probably 4 or 5, but still, though, we went from a guy that was a second-round draft pick, didn't really do a whole lot in his rookie season up until late, and now he's a number 1 wide receiver that's top 5 in the league in receiving yards. This is, dare I say, Tyreek Hill type stuff.
Well, and here's the thing. My next question for you, Michael, is what do you think his ceiling is? Because, again, I think the ceiling that a lot of people had for him, he's already kind of shattered that, or he's broken out of whatever mold people had made for him. So, what do you think his ceiling is, as a wide receiver in this league?
Oh, see, he's able to do something that not a lot of guys can.
The yards after the catch is special. That's the big thing for me.
Well, and we've seen him catch the football and go from 0 to 100 just like that. His acceleration speed is unreal. And it's kind of Tyreek Hillish. I'm not trying to compare the two, but
no, yeah, listen, the long speed obviously isn't Tyreek Hill, but the acceleration
and acceleration, that's special. That's really special.
And I always refer to that 10-yard split that he had in the NFL Combine. He didn't have an elite 40-yard dash by any means, but the 10-yard split was elite among draft-eligible wide receivers that year. And you could see it because there was that Broncos game last year, the first one, not the one we lost. Thanks, McCole Hardman. The first Broncos game, there was a screen. We got backed up 3rd and 25 or something like that. And they ended up just doing a screen to Rashee Rice. And I don't think they expected to actually get the first down. I think they were just setting up Butker for an easier, or not Butker. They were setting up Tommy Townsend for an easier punt. Rashee Rice almost ended up getting the first down just because of how fast he was after he got the ball in his hands. And then another thing too is he's kind of shed any concern about dropping the football. He did have a couple drops, I believe, in the last game, but that was something that coming out of the preseason when he was a rookie, we're oh man, can this guy catch the football? He's been relatively quiet in the drops department since then. At least it hasn't been as big of an issue as you would think based on what he showed as a rookie and in the preseason. So I really, that's a good sign for me because that was something I was concerned about. Usually with guys, when they come in with a profile of dropping the football or a history of dropping the football, it's usually something that sticks with them throughout their career.
Well, and listen, Tyreek Hill drops the football. Wide receivers drop the football. You just want to make sure that it's not, a super high percentage. But I think
as you get targeted more, drops, you're going to have a couple. But the important thing is Rashee Rice's workload has increased significantly, but the drops haven't.
Yes, I could not have said that better myself. It as his workload is increased by a lot. I mean, he went from being a guy that, got a couple catches a game to leading the team in catches. So his workload has gone up a lot and the drops haven't gone up. And so you've got to be encouraged by that. And all the wide receivers struggle with drops to a certain extent, but what he is able to do athletically with just that burst and acceleration, I think that is a special pairing with Patrick Mahomes. And listen, I remember when Sky Moore got drafted, someone on NFL Network said something like Sky Moore might be the guy catching touchdown passes from Mahomes 10 years from now. That guy might be Rashee Rice. I think Rashee Rice has become that guy.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. I think Rashee Rice is a guy that we could see join that group of, I think it's only one player at the moment, that was a Brett Veach draft pick that ended up getting a second or a contract extension. I shouldn't say second contract because there's guys that have gotten a new contract before, but Creed Humphrey was the first guy to get an extension among Veach draft picks. I think we could see Rashee Rice join that very small group of draft picks that end up getting extended because of what you just said.
Oh, yeah. And listen, he's a guy that as he continues to progress, we were talking about his ceiling. Who knows what his ceiling is at this point? He could keep getting better and better to the point where he is a top 5 receiver in the league. And that would be, we talk all about, losing Tyreek Hill and how that affected the team. But Mahomes to go from Kelce or from Hill to Kelce to now Rashee Rice, it is giving him that solidified option that in case of emergency, you always have Rashee Rice on the field. And that just takes so much pressure off a quarterback. And we've seen, other quarterbacks in this league not have that safety blanket or not have that definitive number one. And it seems like the Chiefs just get lucky, or not lucky, but the Chiefs always have a backup plan and a replacement plan for all these players.
Yeah, could not have said it better myself. I do think that Rashee Rice will be a great player for the Kansas City Chiefs for years to come. And I believe we're yet to see truly what his ceiling could be. So, Michael, with all that being said, we're going to go ahead and wrap up the video there. I think we both expect Rashee Rice to have a big season for Kansas City. But before we officially sign off, where can the people find you?
You guys can find me on YouTube at KC Sports Report, Instagram KC_Sports Report, and Twitter at KC Sports Report. If you guys haven't already, subscribe to Josh's channel. What are you doing if you're watching and you haven't? And we're going to be here all season long making content for you guys throughout this Chiefs season as the Chiefs try to go back to back to back. And stick along for the journey.
Yeah, and you guys can also check out the Kingdom Crew podcast as well that Michael and I do. Try to do it weekly sometimes. There's a little bit of a delay in between episodes, but we try to bring you the Kingdom Crew podcast weekly where we break down everything Chiefs. But I'll put all of Michael's stuff down in the description. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe so more Chiefs fans can find this. You can check out my work on showmefootball.com and arrowheadaddict.com for more. All that being said, we'll see you all in the next one. Go Chiefs!